In recent years, more and more volunteer models have been initiated with good intentions to share difficulties and support the community. These activities cover many diverse fields such as education, health, and environment, contributing to creating positive and far-reaching impacts on society. It is noteworthy that not only Vietnamese people but also foreigners who come to Vietnam to live and work have also contributed significantly to these charitable activities. One of those outstanding projects is Help Hanoi's Homeless, founded by a British writer, Christopher X, who had also experienced homelessness and faced both financial and mental difficulties. X understands and deeply sympathizes with the suffering of homeless people in big cities. Based on compassion and the desire to help people, in 2017, he and his friends began organizing volunteer activities to call for support and donate necessities to those in need in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. Over the past 7 years, this project has not only supported many people but also built a vibrant volunteer community with 10,000 participants. The project's charitable activities have become a source of inspiration and motivation, spreading the spirit of sharing and helping the community, emphasizing the value of kindness.
Welcome to Station Vietnam, Trạm Việt Nam on VTC10. And in today's talk show, we are so delighted to welcome a British writer who has lived and worked in Hanoi for more than 7 years. And he is also the founder of Project Help Hanoi's Homeless, a project to support homeless and disadvantaged people in both Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City. Please welcome to our talk show, Mr. Christopher X.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for joining us today. So can you share with us the reason why you started your charity work in Vietnam?
Well, I started Help Hanoi's Homeless back in 2017. It was basically a project that I set up because I wanted to try to get some of the expat community involved in helping the disadvantaged and the homeless around Hanoi. I started it basically just with the objective of just providing some of the basic material needs that people require just to make their life healthy, comfortable and safe. And it's really expanded over the last 7 years just from that.
As a foreigner during the charity work in Vietnam, did you encounter any challenges and difficulties when you do this work first?
Well, initially, yes, because when I was first here in 2017, I didn't know Hanoi that well, and obviously I'm not a local, so I didn't speak the language. So it was quite difficult to sort of know where people are and what the best way to help them would be, the kind of things that they might need. So I found that the best thing to do was to connect with existing charities, groups like Blue Dragon and other outreach groups that are already out there doing the work, and sort of follow them around, go on some of their events, find out what they're doing and any ways that we can kind of replicate what they're doing. And I found that to be enormously helpful.
Yeah. So can you share with us some of your current projects in Hanoi?
Yeah, so we have free runs each week where we go out and help the homeless. So we have one on Monday, one on Wednesday, and one on Friday. The Monday run is one run by myself, and then we have another one on Wednesday and another on Friday. They're run by different people. They go to different areas and they hand out different things. We also have a monthly blood drive. So on the last weekend of every month, we encourage people to go out and give blood. I think donating blood is probably one of the easiest things that you can do to do the most good. With Hanoi's blood stocks at the moment, they're actually below the amount that they're below capacity. So there's not enough blood out there for everybody who needs a blood transfusion. We also have an online school. So basically I train teachers to teach, just devote 1 hour a week of their time to teaching online. So we get laptops and tablets out to orphanages around Hanoi and to disadvantaged families and things like that.
So how do you assess the effectiveness of this charity work in Vietnam? And is it the main reason help you to maintain your projects during more than 7 years?
There are some things on there that you can't really quantify. So, I mean, the reason I do outreach work and go out onto the streets, there are many reasons for this. It isn't just providing the basic needs. I mean, that's how it started, of course, was providing, you know, food and comfort to people who are living on the streets. But there's something a bit more abstract about what we do. What we try to do as well is we try to provide people with a bit of help, assistance, whether that's medical, whether that's sort of spiritual, helping people's emotional needs. So there's a lot of things that I would like to say that we're doing that the effects of which are a bit more abstract. They're not sort of as easily quantifiable.
So is it the happiest thing when you do the charity work? See people improved their lives, see people happy? Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. It does make me very happy to know that that we've made a difference to people's lives. It makes me very happy to know that even if it's just for one night, you know, if we can make someone's life just a little bit easier, if we can give them a meal, or we can give them something just to make their life a bit more comfortable in the winter, if we can give somebody a blanket or a jacket or something just to make that night a bit more bearable, yeah, it makes me massively happy. It really makes me happy, and it's good to see that, you know, these small actions and this relatively small group of people can make such a big difference.
ACT's volunteer projects attract a lot of attention and participation from many young people in Vietnam. The project includes frequent activities such as providing necessities to many different disadvantaged people in Hanoi, including more than 100 dialysis patients struggling with daily life near Bạch Mai Hospital area. Homeless people wandering everywhere in the streets of Hanoi. The special thing about the projects is that these activities are carried out regularly every Mondays, Wednesday, and Friday. Despite all the difficulties, ACT has never stopped his work. For him, charity work is an indispensable part of life where he can contribute back to the country and people in Vietnam. He hopes to spread the message to everyone. We can start volunteering from the smallest things.
Because you have lived and worked in Hanoi for more than 7 years, can you share a bit about your feeling of Hanoi and also the people in Vietnam in general?
Well, yeah, I love Hanoi. I love the people of Hanoi and in Vietnam generally. I think it's you know, it's a chaotic city, but I love that, and I think the people here they're incredibly sweet. They're incredibly hospitable. You know, it's the kind of place where my motorbike has run out of petrol and I'll be pushing it down the side of the road, and within 5 minutes someone either pushes me to the nearest petrol station or gives me some petrol. They just give me a bottle of petrol and then they just drive off. You know, just the other day I was driving to one of the homeless runs and something was on the back of my bike and it's kind of rattling a bit. It's about to fall off. I think I have to pull over at the side of the road, and as I do it, somebody pulls up, throws me a bungee cord and drives away. You know, there's just, and I love that. They just give me something to help me out and then off they go. There's no, I don't even have a chance to thank people, you know. And I love that about Vietnam. I love that there's just this endless sense of community and solidarity and acceptance and kindness. It's really quite humbling. And then all the other stuff, of course, you know, the beautiful jungles and the beaches and all of that, but everybody knows that already. Yeah.
How do you feel about their volunteering work in Vietnam, run by the youth, the Vietnamese young people?
Oh, I think it's fantastic. Honestly, yeah. I've had numerous schools where the kids have just gotten together and gathered huge amounts of food and toiletries and all of this sort of thing, and they've even written little letters to the people that it's going out to, and I just think that's absolutely amazing, you know, and I think it helps kids to recognize their privilege, which I think is very, very important.
So from your perspective, do these activities have like aspects that need to be improved to have more like effective impact on the society?
I think the major thing that requires improvement with almost any charity work is that it needs to be consistent and long term. So usually when we say that kind of scares people, because people think, oh, you know, I have to sign up and work for a charity for 10 years, or I have to sell all my possessions and you know, become a monk or something and sell everything and give it all to the homeless. And that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there are about 10% of people around the world are below the poverty line. And as depressing as that statistic is, if you flip it around, that means that there are 9 people for every 1 person in poverty who have the ability to look after that person. There are 9 people with more than they need. So if all of those 9 people were consistently helping the 1 person who's below, that figure would disappear. Nobody would be below the poverty line. There would be no poverty. And it wouldn't require those 9 people who were above the poverty line to sell their houses or get rid of everything, or, you know, work for charities like it's a full-time job. Just giving a little bit, but consistently and over a long period of time, would lift people right out of poverty, and it would help them enormously.
But do you think that many people may wonder why we need to do the charity work? Because we also have a lot of goal to do in our life. If we achieve our goal in our life, we have a better life. But what is the reason? The core reason why do we need to do the volunteer work? Is not our responsibility, maybe?
Well, if it's, I mean, there is of course the argument that, you know, well, it's not my problem, why should I care? But I would argue that most people, if you saw an old lady carrying a bag of potatoes across the road, and the bag split open and potatoes are rolling around everywhere, and you were right there, would you just walk over the potatoes and ignore it, or would you help to pick them up? Most people would help to pick them up. Very rare would anybody say no to that. Generally, when people are saying, you know, it's not my responsibility, I shouldn't be the one helping the homeless, someone else should be doing that. Well, there already are lots of people doing it, but we need as many hands as possible to help. And when we talk about, you know, well, I'm busy with my career, I have my goals to get, I'm studying or something like that, fair enough, okay, you can still do that. You can still study, you can still pursue your career, and you can still dedicate, you know, an hour of time a week to helping the homeless. Because some other people's goals are literally just to get enough food to survive till the next day. That's their goal. If you're in a position where, you know, you are studying, you're in a privileged position. If you're in a position where you want to advance your career, you're in a privileged position. If you have a job, you're doing better than people who are living in poverty. So, you know, I mean, anybody who's above the poverty line can do something. So just do what you can. Just do what's reasonable for you.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so much for your sharing today in our talk show. It's really meaningful and touching for me, and I think that many people feel really touching today. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me on.
So that is the end of our Station Vietnam today. Thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you in the next episode. Goodbye.